Leamons, welcome back to another video of mine. So, I haven't posted in a bit, I've just been super busy lately, but since it's Halloween, I thought it'd be a good idea to check out some Animal Jam creepypastas. Now, if you don't already know, creepypasta refers to horror stories of urban legends or myths within the internet's community, which means they are not proved to be true, although they could be. And that's scary to consider after reading some of these, and believe it or not, but Animal Jam has a ton of creepypastas, like way more than I initially expected. So basically, I'm going over 4 of the most interesting Animal Jam creepypastas I found, and I'll read them out loud and talk about them a bit afterwards. So enjoy! The first story we'll be reading is 6xNan Creepypasta. I was at a Halloween party with my friend on Animal Jam. We were having fun when someone sent me a friend request. His name was 6xNan. His animal looked cut up, bloody, and really distorted. The cuts and blood looked really realistic, but I stupidly thought he was using an exploit and trolling people, so I declined the friend request. My friend was asking why I wasn't responding. I told him some person thought he could scare me with his scary animal by sending a friend request. When I was about to leave the party, I got some mail. Bad mail. I tried to reload the page, but it wouldn't reload. Also, every time I pressed it, it played distorted screaming. I couldn't do anything, so I forced shut down the PC and turned it back on, but the Windows logo was different. I didn't get to screenshot. The Windows logo looked bloody and had cuts on it. Eventually, the computer loaded up. The wallpaper looked normal, but all my files were black. Okay, so I found this story really creepy, just like the whole story. But also, the photos were really creepy looking. I'm not gonna lie, that wolf, I hate to say it does look very edited. Unless it was just really poor quality on the game, and it was real. I really can't say, I don't know, but it does look like it was just kind of edited. It's creepy looking, but it's also kind of funny for that reason. Like, it just kind of looks bad. They had a masterpiece of mail they got, but I honestly thought it looked really creepy. And I don't really want to show it in this video because I know we're talking about creepypastas, but I don't even really like looking at this painting that they put in the story. So I will have links to each of these stories in my description if you want to go check that out yourself. You are totally free to. Also, in the comments, I just thought this was funny. Someone commented that 6xNan is a Roblox user. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they were inspired off this story or if that's just a coincidence that they had the same name. The next story is Blanket Z with 3 Z's. I had walked into Zero's den. Usually there would be a lot of jammers sitting and mourning Zero, but this time there was a Pop-Tart JK. I saw this wolf, but it had Zero's eyes, but black as night. It stood next to the plushie, emotionless. My leopard stared at the wolf as the wolf softly whispered, "Blankets." I suddenly recognized the wolf as Blankets, the one whom I had already remembered, the one who took Zero. Many thought he quit or just faded away. No, jammers don't fade. He was right there before my eyes. He got up and walked towards me with his legs crooked in some way. I jumped back as his sharp jaws opened to my horror. All his teeth were purely bloody. I tried to click the go to my den icon, but it wouldn't. It just wouldn't work. He attacked me, sinking his teeth into my leg until a sickening crack could be heard. I couldn't move my leg as the wolf smiled. The screen went black. My laptop powered off. Odd. My account was gone. Everything was... Wait. I had multiple accounts. They all had a portal which leaded to my den. It said my name, but the walls and floors were in red with blood. So, this one just sounded really creepy, and I think just the use of cracking bones and teeth and blood like that kind of freaked me out. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this other than it was just creepy. It was a creepy Animal Jam story. The next story is The Ice, Animal Jam Creepypasta. It was a normal day in Animal Jam. I logged on and started dancing in Jamaat Township saying, "Break the ice and go to Mount Shavir." Then, out of nowhere, a wolf came beside me. He was a normal colored wolf, but he had a golden name tag with the name Greeley. He protested, "Stop, you can't do this." I ignored him and went to visit the animals in Mount Shavir. A few alphas were watching, along with Greeley. He covered his eyes and whispered through everyone's computer's speakers. "This is a fatal mistake you're all making." The ice started shattering into more little bits, this time more than it cracked before. A few animals screamed as they ran off. A fox with the name Count Major Claw fell in along with his pet cheetah. My jammer somehow grabbed his paw and pulled him out, and the ice below my jammer's feet shaked violently. My animal pulled Count Major Claw onto the normal snow as the animals on the ice fell in, making a large splashing sound. The room changed to a water room, which was a waiting room to let the real room load. A hyena named Floral Icy Toe said, "I'm gonna drown," she said. Many jammers laughed with the animated laugh emotion, only for members, as non-members just said haha in the chat box. But many animals were turning blue, no, purple. They were drowning, but then all the animals floated down into a mirror-like ground as everyone sank through it. In there was a shop-like room which had lots of cool stuff in it. Luckily, everything was free, so I went on to a shopping spree. There was free membership givers, rares, betas, plushies, furniture, and dents. I looked in one of the clothing shop areas, and in the end, it was a banned item, which was said to look inappropriate on pandas, scullies. I was amazed. I bought one and looked at my clothing list. I had bought so many rares, but then we were pulled into a void. Many animals screamed as we were sent to Jama Township, but it was empty, and blood was everywhere. There were eyeballs, internal organs, crystal impaled alphas, but the creepy part was that it was more realistic than your average pixels. Greeley, one of the dead alphas, looked up at his internal organs as he said, "I warned you," to all the jammers. The jammers were stuck there as Count Major Claw ran into Jama Township, his animal watching in horror. Count Major Claw encouraged all the animals to go into the ditch he was watching from. I didn't go. Even F-Man 122 ran into the ditch, he said as he took a break from hacking today. My animal screamed as Greeley got up to his paws, as blood dripped from his torn stomach. His eyes were pitch black with tiny red irises. The eyes were dripping black blood as I screamed as well. The other jammers watched in horror. Greeley tore my animal's head off as blood-red pixels came rushing down from the neck. Greeley looked at me through the screen and I felt breathing on my neck. My heart pounded fast, sending a message to my brain saying, "Don't turn around." Then the next thing I knew was that my headphones were pulled off and thrown at the floor as someone whispered into my ear, "Don't break the ice. Not even once. Period." And then we get a really bad edited photo of Greeley. I'm sorry to laugh. It's just the editing on this is, it's something. That's what it is. But the story, that was a really great story. Real or not, I enjoyed that. It was thrilling. I don't even know. It was an awesome story. I'd honestly say it's the best one so far. Out of all of these that we've gone through, I really like this ice story, like the idea of the ice breaking, and then it just turned downhill and it got even worse again, and there was just blood everywhere, and yeah, it was kind of chaotic near the end, but an interesting story for sure. The last story is The Forgotten, a creepypasta. There once was an entity on Animal Jam known as The Forgotten. It wasn't very well known, but it was very creepy. Anyway, when you click the user card of the character, you would see a black wolf with no eyes. The background had also been slightly altered. There was no username printed on it, just the picture. The Forgotten first appeared back in December 2012. A few users reported seeing a black wolf in the background of Mount Shafir, the mountain map. They believed it was just someone using a glitch or a hack, but they were wrong. The Forgotten was not a simple player of the game, nor was it a glitch. This wolf was supposed to be a new animal. It was going to be a golden jackal, a candid native to North and Northeastern Africa. They used the wolf model to represent them because the final animal was still in planning. You're probably wondering how I know this. Well, I had a friend who used to work for WildWorks, the company that runs Animal Jam. He quit shortly after planning for the new animal started. However, a designer called Exel, or just X for short, had the idea for this animal. He wanted to change Animal Jam's kid-friendly appeal and make it more hot. For example, Exel wanted to have different animations for the jackal. Now, the normal animations in the game are pretty simple. You can walk around, jump, dance, and sleep. Exel wanted to add biting and clawing animations, just like those of a real jackals. Some were skeptical at first, but they decided to allow it as long as they did not hurt other players. So he continued to work on his new animal. A few meetings later, Axel's idea evolved. The concept art was very realistically drawn, going against the more cartoony style of the game. He wanted a setting that would show blood, but the directors shut this idea down. It had to be completely kid-friendly. This aggravated him. Of course, he secretly kept the setting, ignoring the others. He involved more on this idea, but a co-worker figured out Axel's plans and told the developers. They decided that perhaps he was not fit for the team and asked him to leave that next day. But Axel would not, saying that it was important that the children see what real wild animals would do. That very night, Axel stayed behind. He was determined to get the golden jackal out there. So he had hacked one of the servers and added to it. The original name of the server was Nile to those online. It now appeared to read Hell. Things on Hell server were different. Users experienced odd things. In the arcade room, none of the games would work, except for one, the horse racing game known as Jamaa Derby. If you won the game and got to the finish line first, you would see a black wolf standing there. It never did anything, but it would not move. If you went to your den, the floor would be red, deep blood red. The wolf would also be there, watching you silently. But the scariest thing was if you tried to log out, the game would not let you. Instead, the entity would appear. A message under it read, "This is a real animal. This is how real animals play." After about 5 seconds, the screen would switch to multiple pictures. They were pictures of wounds made by all sorts of animals. They were horrible, disgusting pictures. Claw marks, bite wounds, diseases spread by the injuries. Many of them would flash you before fading to black. Then, a picture of a real golden jackal would appear. I am the Forgotten. All of the users on that server lost their accounts. They also were not able to make new ones to spread the word. Animal Jam did a very good job covering up the whole thing, and for a while, things were quiet. Until a few users started noticing the wolf in random places around the game. Animal Jam responded to this by saying that it was just a harmless bug in the game, and did not pay to mind. The Forgotten did not go away. Sometimes you will still see it in random places throughout the game. It could be there anywhere from 1 second to 10 minutes. And it still stands there, doing nothing, watching the game that once could have been a part of. I am the Forgotten. And we get a photo of kind of evidence, I guess, that this existed. And from what I can see, this doesn't look edited. But to be fair, I also don't play Animal Jam Classic, so I can't really tell what is edited on that game as much as I could tell, well, Play Wild, what could be edited on there. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure all these stories are classic stories. I think they were made more around the time that Classic was very popular, and Play Wild might have not even really been a thing, or at least popular yet. Anyways, this story was really interesting to me, because it's the only story that I could actually maybe believe in being true. Even slightly. I hate to say it, but I don't know if I believe much of these stories to be true. They're very interesting, they're scary, but a lot of them had things that were edited in ways that made me not want to believe them, or just certain words, or just crazy situations where I just couldn't find myself believing it. Although I have to admit, this one story about the Forgotten kind of sounds like it could be true. I'm just saying, out of all these stories, I think it's the most plausible to be true. Anyways, either way, it's a really interesting story. I had a fun read with this one. Honestly, they were all very good stories. All of the authors here did an amazing job coming up with great stories. I linked all their stories in my description if you want to go read and check them out for yourselves. And that's it for this video on Animal Jam CreepyPastas. It was super cool to dive into this subject for Animal Jam. I had no clue just how many of these stories were made. It really shows how dedicated people were to this game and its community of people. I'm not even gonna lie, I had to kick some stories out of this video because I genuinely was scared of them myself. And if I was afraid, well, they probably shouldn't be in the video. I'd assume they were fake anyways, but I just couldn't put them in. I'm sorry. Although I'm terrible with horror stuff, I cannot just sit down and watch scary movies. It's not enjoyable for me at all. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like. Have a spooky, safe, and fun Halloween. It's been Leamon Puppy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time.